Hi, I'm live and dim. Okay, not too dim. Yay. Okay. So yeah, that's 3 videos in one day. I don't know. I definitely need to be stopped. But I've wanted to come on and chit chat and catch up with you guys for a bit. And it's just been way too busy to do that. So I figured that tonight I have the time. It's a good night. Let's do it. Let's catch up. Hi. How is everyone? How is your day, evening, whatever time it is treating you? I hope it's treating you quite well. So, hi. There is, as always, plenty to chat about. I actually got a question in the comments of one of my videos today that prompted this. It was about the DC 5G timeline. And I made a comment in the one video about how I like legacy characters. So they're like, "Are you here for 5G?" Oh no, Jim, you got sick. That was me a little like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, and as you can hear, I still have a little bit of it. So the DC 5G timeline. So what is it? Also, there was recently a leak of it, one of those leaked images where they're like, oh no, somebody left the door open. What an entirely organic occurrence that in no way is staged. What it is essentially is that they're going to fit all of the events of DC history concretely into a timeline, and they're going to slot it into place, and you have to accept that this happened at this time. And then based on where the current timeline ends up, they're going to replace some of their heroes, all of them they claim, with new versions. We will see. But okay, I don't hate the concept of the timeline. I am fearful of what it is going to do to fandom, as these things tend to. There's nothing worse than when they come at you with a canonical, like, this is the tome of where things are. And the type of fan that I am is very transformative. And I'm just like, well, I don't have to listen to that. So then you run into situations where if you want to deal with a headcanon or write a story or do whatever, where you're not going to adhere to that, you're now going to have people who are like, well, actually, the book says that in 1945, he wasn't born yet. So your thing is entirely inaccurate and you're a fake fan. And I'm just like, oh, I can hear it already. I can already hear it. It's just, no, please don't do this again. We don't need to do it again. I thought that we were all just operating on this silent understanding that the timeline is fluid and doesn't make sense, and that these characters have entered into mythology, and that we are all operating on a sliding time scale, and that we've accepted this. I thought that we had just accepted that events moved and shaped based on meta outside continuity, and we were okay with that. But yeah. Yes, Artemis, Batman is going to be like 70. That's why they're going to replace them, because they're going to be too old. Actually, okay, so Clark's going to be 65, 60. That's what they're going with. But I'm like, it doesn't really matter because Clark's Kryptonian, but whatever. Ah, I'll wait and see how it is, but I never like anything where they can come back and be like, oh, you have to accept this, and we say it's like this. And it's very Matilda-esque to me. You know, I'm right, you're wrong, I'm big, you're little, and there's nothing you can do about that. But that's just me. That's how I feel. Maybe it'll be amazing. Jim, that's so cynical, but I agree with you. We'll be back to another timeline soon. Oh. Joey, that's kind of how I feel. I'm very much in the they're as old as you want them to be. Is Batman's anywhere between the ages of 25 and 65? He already, whatever age he is, isn't old enough. But we're all just accepting it because we like him and we like all the other characters. We've all just silently agreed that this doesn't fully make sense, but we're not going to think about it too hard for the sake of the narrative. uh, Heckler actually liked when Peter got old and got his own company. I was like, look at Peter. He's got his life together. It's all, and then no, then he was on Mockingbird's couch and it was all completely undone in like a little bit. And it happened like midway through the Deadpool Spider-Man run. So one issue, he was Peter Parker, head of Parker Industries. And the next issue, he was on her couch. It was really funny, especially if you weren't following the outside continuity for that. It was just very much like, huh, Peter, what happened? I do have more Marvel stuff coming up. I know it's been DC centric lately, but there's a lot of Batman things and other things I need to catch up on. I am doing the Harleen video. Harley X Joker asked about that. It's just, it keeps ballooning in length because I have so much to say about that comic and I want to say all of the things. And then I got waylaid by Deceased. Yeah, Tim has to be older than 16 because now they say like that Damien is like he's getting hyper aged up to match his best friend John, who got hyper aged in space. He literally went to space and then came back and was like, Dad, I'm 17. How was Halloween? Halloween was wet. It was very rainy and it was very cold. So it was an inside-a-ween, whatever you want to call that. How was everybody else's? Are all of you in a place where Halloween is even celebrated? I know it's not a big deal, like different places, depending upon where you are in the world. Good evening, Archangel. I also have, of course, more of the indie stuff to do as well. More you've been sleeping on. Basically just like a giant list of things to do. More histories of She-Hulk. I'm going to do that one first because I was triggered by that Gwenpool Strikes Back issue number 3. I'm still not over it. Where to start reading Batman? Like reading lists? Are you guys interested in those? Like, I mean, obviously none of them would be definitive because you can start reading wherever you want to read, but I have recs for days. So I can recommend different points that are fun to jump on. It's always hard to pick a definitive reading order, especially because now there are so many continuities and timelines. That's like, oh, read this arc, but also none of it's canon or matters anymore, which is why I have such a loose relationship with canon in the first place. Because I'm like, it can change. I'm going to like what I want to like and not like what I don't want to like. And that's how it's going to go. There is the like Judge Dredd ages. He's been aging since the start, and that's actually a plot point, his age and how that affects things. So that's interesting. Hellblazer. They just released a new one with under the Sandman World line where they have that one character who's totally just Harry Potter, by the way. Oh, Peter, there's nothing wrong with being mainstream. Oh, I'm glad, Jack. I love Astro City, and more people need to be reading it. It's so good. And because maybe I'll get to do a Confessor vid. The Confessor is so amazing. All I'm going to say, for those who don't know, is there's more than one. First one is a priest who's a vampire, and it's great. So such sights to show you. Oh, for those who were around, how did you like the multiple uploads? I was trying a thing, trying to be a proper YouTuber. Am I drinking hot chocolate? No, it's tea. It's apple tea. No bubble tea for me. I couldn't convince my husband to go and get it, and I was too lazy. So I'm just having regular tea because that's how I roll. I like villain origins in general, Heckler. Like they can be very, very fun. It's one of the things I love about Harleen. So, like Harleen does something for Harley that hasn't been allowed for quite a while, and it makes her a fully fleshed character and gives her agency in her own story and her own choices, which is why it's one of my favorite Harley comics ever. Woo, Karen. I'm going to try to do that more often when I can, when I have the time. And also because I want to, finish things off as they come, like Deceased. I'm done. Although I was rereading parts of it and I saw all these things that I didn't mention. And I was like, now I don't know. How do I feel? Mm. Yeah, Artemis, me too. I am loving it as well. Mm. Always tell me what you guys want to see more of. Oh, new mutant yeah, I'm very curious as to how the X-Men stuff is gonna play out overall and what the tone is about how we're supposed to feel about it. I feel like that's still kind of up in the air as well. So far, it's really interesting, and I love things that are interesting. So I haven't dived into House of X because that's a lot of a lot. It's like, hold on, let me also explain the entire backstory of all the X-Men. Mm. I did. I did read your theory. Comic and adaptation comparisons. I love doing comparisons. Actually, years ago when I was still in high school, I have like, they're ancient. You can probably still find them, but there was a series I did called Read or Watch where I compared book adaptations to movie adaptations, but I was young and I had a thin skin and I got one like really cruel comment once and I was like stole for a little bit. But I think I want to keep it mostly focused on comics. As much as I love adaptations, I feel like there is a hyper focus culturally on adaptations that can sometimes detract from the medium of comics itself and the idea that it can completely stand on its own, that it doesn't need to be adapted, and that a work being adapted doesn't make it better. It's just like, oh, that's cool and I like seeing another interpretation, but the fact that it was chosen doesn't mean that it's better than other works that weren't necessarily, because there are tons of amazing works that are never going to be adapted ever. Ooh, I should do the Hellraiser. I really should. What I really want to do is the Mary Jane comic. I'm like, oh, Mary Jane comic. I need to talk about that, but it also has lots of things to be said about it. If I do another crossover one, I do want to do the Batman Punisher crossover. That one's a lot of fun. There are a bunch of really great crossovers. I mean, Archie's doing that Predator thing again. Oh, Archie Meets the Punisher is also really solid. It's way more solid than people think. Cinematic in what sense? Like how they're laid out, Heroic Nerd TV? Mary Jane, no, she doesn't. It's Mary Jane living her life as Mary Jane. Because that's what the people wanted, apparently. They got together and were like, we demand Mary Jane. We'll see, though. We'll see how long it lasts. Mm. Yeah, oh, definitely. There are so many series out there, Joey. Yeah, I like the Ash Williams Marvels. That's actually the first time I encountered Marvel Zombies was the crossover with The Evil Dead. So, Marvel Zombies. I don't know. Did you know that at the same time that all this deceased stuff was going on, Marvel was doing a little mini thing called Contagion? And it was essentially a very similar thing, like a zombie-esque plague, The JSA. Do you guys know there's a Stargirl TV series coming out? Every time, like, it's something that I will remember and then forget. I'm like, right, Stargirl. That's a thing that's happening. The world will know. Mm. So far, yeah, I didn't mind Contagion. I just was like, I'm already doing Deceased. I feel like they'll think that I have a thing, and they'll start sending me all these links. They're like, zombies, are they like your favorite thing ever? That's how you end up with like a bunch of like random things because everybody assumes you like it. It's like, we bought you Dawn of the Dead. And you're like, I was just talking about it. Oh, I need to do the Spider-Gwen comic as well. Hi, Veronica. I love that I just went out of focus. It's like, I love when I'm filming. Well, I don't love it. Love's the wrong word, but I find it highly amusing whenever I put one of the faces behind me on the screen and then the camera is like, but that's the face I want to focus on and focuses on that. And I'm like, that's fair. I understand your choice. The tea is decent. The tea is the perfect temperature. I can't get asked, is the tea hot without thinking about Picard. Oh, Star Trek tie-in comics, my secret world. There was a Q one recently that I really, really enjoyed. Then I'll have to reveal the true level of my Trekkiness. Oh, you mean like the minis? Tell us all about Q. There's a great book that I read. It's not canonical, but it's by Peter David, and it plays with the idea that Trelane from the original series, Squire of the Gothos episode, is also a Q, a young Q, and that he is tied to the Q from the Next Generation series. And there's a great, great book where he's playing with his powers and he crosses over and discovers this entity that's too much for him, and it absorbs him and turns him into something really malevolent and evil. And then Q has to deal with this with the TNG timeline, but it also hops around, and it's really heartbreaking, and it's just a really cool take on that episode, Squire of the Gothos. And I feel like it works for what was going on in that episode, like a child Q. I don't know. I love that book. I've read it more than once. Yes, I've read Lois Lane's comic, and yes, Good Omens. Good Omens was a good time. I'm still hanging out in that fandom. It's so fun. I'm working on my next shippers guide vid as well because I'm doing all of the things. I'm trying to make it more even. I know I haven't been on the shippers as much as I normally am, so I'm gonna rectify that because there is always as many ships out there as there are stars in the sky, and I'm still just as into it as I ever was. I just have many interests and many hats. And as all of you know, there is only so much time in the day for so many things. Unfortunately, it's like if I was a vampire, that'd be one of the things. Like I can do all the things now. Or some kind of entity that just never had to sleep. That would be pretty amazing. Bat Lantern. I also recently revisited Bat Lantern. And Sinestro Hal. Yeah. I've missed it too, Veronica. I've missed it too. It's a good time. Both channels, all of you are amazing. It's just such an amazing, fun group of people to spend time with, and I'm genuinely so appreciative. It's so fun, such distinct, unique fandoms, and it's just so fun to be able to spend time in both with such an amazing group. I haven't watched Euphoria, but everybody keeps saying amazing things about it who I know. They're like, have you watched it? And I'm like, no, I don't have time. Nathan, I brought the Abrams Spider-Man issues and I'm not sure I should have. Well, it depends how you end up feeling about them, doesn't it? It really depends. That series is overpraised. it's it's okay. It's fine. I don't know if it's going to be the entry point into comics that people thought it was going to be. And it's definitely a flop for how many they said it was going to sell. This is going to sell millions. And I was like, calm down. People don't like J.J. Abrams' son that much. Like, jeez. I have read Ruins, but it was a long time ago. I need to revisit it. I liked The Wicked and the Divine. I enjoyed it. Slash, like, but it's finishing. What I liked until maybe about halfway through was Sex Criminals. That was actually a really fun, thoughtful comic, despite what the title would have you believe. And I don't know, it just kind of meandered and lost like what it was trying to do like midway through. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm off now. Bye. This was fun while it lasted. The Beauty is that what it's called? The Beauty, I think. The Beauty is also interesting if I'm remembering the title correctly. I need to look at that. Oh, thank you, Jordy. I appreciate that. Batman is my shipping bicycle. But who is the person who's brought to the front of the line as much as possible? Do you read spin-off comics outside of Trekkie stuff? Yes. Yes, I do. I have Buffy. I have Smallville. I have Angel. I have Farscape. There was a Farscape like tie-in comic that was really good. I've read some of the Doctor Who ones. There's a lot out there. Yes. Smallville season 11 where they finally could introduce Batman. Yes, that's the one where they have sex to rob a bank. Yes, it is, Artemis. Have you seen the new Watchmen series? No, I haven't had the chance to yet, but I actually was recently rereading some of the before Watchmen comics that I have, just because I wanted to do a video on it, because I know some people are like, anything outside of the Watchmen itself is blasphemy and you shouldn't even let it sully your eyes. But I'm like, some of them, it depends on how you feel about stuff. I really like some of them, and other ones I'm like, didn't need to happen, but none of it takes away from how I feel about the original story. It's just there's other stuff out there and you can kind of take it or leave it. That's very much my approach to most things. It's HBO, Karen. Oh, Rab Nerd, you have arrived. The Doomsday Clock. Is that like, should we review it, or like, will it ever finish? Because I'm so salty about all the delays. I feel so bad for the 3 Jokers comic guys who are just waiting for it to finish. Like, they're just holding it. Like, please, let us print this. Please let us print this. They are expensive, Peter. They are. A lot of the old ones will go on sale, the digital ones, for $1.99, and I have a big latent collection because I started collecting properly in college, university rather. So I have all of that as a backlog, and then that's also why I'm late sometimes, because I'm like, I need money to buy these things. Like, I can't just. I need to wait for Deceased. I keep forgetting Doomsday Clock is still going. I keep forgetting about it too. Do you know that they released the first trade paperback and it's not even done? I just died laughing. I was like, why is this one like $16.99? And then I went and looked and I was like, oh, it's the trade. It's the trade and it's not even there. Killer Smile Twist will be the Arkham with Joker LARP is Ben. The theory that was left by, I believe it was Harley X Joker, actually, that they're both the Joker. It's his insanity versus his sanity, I think became my favorite theory. That's really cool. I salute you. It just never ends. We just never get issue 12, Jacob. It's just, wasn't there a comic called Doomsday Clock? That would, at this point, with how relevant it'll be, I feel like that's fair. Doomsday Clock has been going on for, I think we're approaching 2 years now. It's been a thing. Yep, that's right. I was right. 2 years. It's out of control. It's a problem. 8 Mad, I wish they would let me forget the 3 Jokers thing. I thought we just weren't talking about it anymore. It was one of those things. They're like, no, we're waiting till after. I was like, oh, all right then. Oh yeah, they're doing that HBO Lantern show. So that's a thing that's going to happen. Favorite Lantern? I don't know. Depends on the mood. Yes, Maxwell Lord is just having a little renaissance. They're like, you know who's cool? Maxwell Lord. And I'm like, yeah, he is, but I didn't realize other people were finally going to catch on. I love Maxwell Lord. I always have since the Justice League International. Like, this is a cool dynamic. John Stewart's pretty cool. The thing is, I like most of the Lanterns. I like the core as well. When they were introducing all the rest of the core to try and make Hal interesting back in the day, which was totally the reason behind those backups, I ended up liking a lot of the people. I like the Green Lantern core and everything as a concept. No, he produced other things faster, Heroic Nerd TV. He can work, like the artist can work to deadlines. It's just sometimes you get to a point where people don't enforce the deadlines because there are other things drawn by that same artist that came out on time and were just as high quality. So there are stories from back in the 90s about some artists who would get complacent because they were famous. And like people would literally have to like go to their house and stand there and be like, you're not leaving until you draw the panel. So it happens. I like Jessica Cruz a lot. She has a really good story in the horror anthology, The Secrets of Sinister House. So that one's really... Actually, there are a couple of really solid stories in that anthology, and then a couple that just don't need to be there. Maxwell Lord deserves to have his neck snapped on multiple... I would watch that. Just a montage of neck snaps on multiple Earths. Let me see. Let me catch up here. I like Simon, but sometimes I feel like writers don't know what to do with him. Same with Kyle. Like, there is some Lanterns who I feel like people are like, they're Lanterns. Simon and Jessica are great. They're really wonderful additions. I wish we could have as many core books as they had running for a little bit, where they were just all had like books at one point. It's like, this is amazing. Yeah, I'd watch a live action Gargoyles too, but how much budget do we have? Because how the Gargoyles look, because a live action Gargoyles would need the Gargoyles to look really wow, I can't say gargoyles. They would need to look really stellar is what I'm saying. Grant does need to hog the IP, and he needs to do whatever he wants with it because he can. I saw a bunch of solicitations for things that he wanted to do with the new X-Men run, and they told him no. And I thought they were all atrocious, and then there were all these comments that were like, this is amazing, and I was like, it's fine. I've accepted that I live in a parallel reality. It's totally fine. Favorite Lantern Corps? I'm partial to the originals, green and yellow, although red is pretty cool as well. I like Atrocitus and all of the rage. The rage is fun. I liked the color emotion spectrum. I know not everybody did. I liked it. I thought it was really fun. And I thought the war was really epic. I don't know. I have all of that collected. I have read Preacher, but again, like Ruins, it's been a while. It's not one that I have on hand, like Lucifer or some of the other ones. I have Lucifer. I'm getting a full, proper collected anthology of The Boys. That's one of those things where I'm stuck in the situation. I'm like, I got issues 1, 3, and 8. And it's the same with Justice League International, where I have volumes 1, 2, 4, and 6. And it's just like, why did I do this? Why did I let this happen? Oh. No, I haven't. I haven't read that 8 Mad. Have any of you read the Milk comic, the Milkman Superman comic, whose name is totally eluding me, but Superman's an evil milkman? That's a thing? That's a thing that happened? I'm not crazy? Who else remembers this with me, please? Oh, also, the Invisible Woman comic has continued to be good. I just haven't talked about it, but I've been very much enjoying that as well. Infrared Core. I'd watch that. I'd read that. All the cores. They can just keep pulling them out of hats at this point. I do vaguely remember the Green Lantern show. Who else remembers Green Lantern, the movie Green Lantern First Flight, the animated one, which I will forever love because when he puts the ring on, he has a Sailor Moon transformation sequence. Like full on, he floats up, he spins around, the color descends. It's everything. It's everything I never knew I needed or wanted. Yeah, on DVD. Every now and again, I'll find one of my VHSs and be like, woof. Old school. Real old school. I won a DVD recently, an animated Aladdin one that promised that it has an alternate ending. And I was like, what does that mean? Why do I need this? I agree, Rabnerd. I feel like everybody should transform like that. And I feel like the entire rest of the league should just have to wait and watch him while it happens. Just slowly spin around and rise in the air. I recently got rid of my VCR and I have nothing but regrets. I have so many regrets. I'm like, no, I wanted to hold on to it, but I didn't have the space. And I was like, why am I holding on to this? But at the same time, I don't want to, but I don't want people to think I'm a hoarder. So I remember the combo VCR DVD players. Yes. DVDs on one side, VCR on the other. The height of modern technology. Yes. Oh, yeah. I remember the flippable DVDs. You'd scratch both sides and it was just a disaster. At this point, I'm just using my PlayStation to play all of the things. It's a very expensive Blu-ray player. Although I did get the Outer Worlds, and that's really fun. So yay, living my best life. You still have the combo? Yes. What Marvel comics should I be reading, guys? Tell me. I feel like I'm neglecting them, but that's just because I'm in a DC phase. It happens. Then I'll phase back the other way and I'll be doing this and be like, guys, what DC comics should I read? I'm very cyclical with them. It just depends on how many things that are coming out catch my eye. That's just how I roll. I just cycle back and forth. I am reading The Immortal Hulk. I like The Immortal Hulk a lot. The Immortal Hulk is really, really cool. I liked Absolute Carnage, and I need to catch back up and finish off Donny Case's Venom run now that my salt has subsided somewhat. I am reading Dawn of X. Yes, I'm also reading Fantastic Four. I feel like I'm not as bad as I felt I was. I'm just not talking about them. No, I haven't read Silver Surfer Black. Is that the one with the very distinct art that I've seen floating around? Oh, it is 8 Mad. It 100% is. Let me just say that they show the living quarters and their rooms are connected. And that's all I'm going to say about that. All together. Thruple. 100%. I did read Scooby-Doo Apocalypse. I feel like it's unpopular opinion. I really liked it. I keep seeing all these videos pop up now. They're like, this was super weird. Why did they do this? Who wanted this? And I'm like, I actually really enjoyed it. I read the Doctor Doom issue and I still don't know how I felt about it. Like, I picked it up right away because I love Doom. Doom is one of my faves. And I was like, am I getting Loki or Doom? And I was like, I'm sorry, Loki, but Doom has to come home today. And I don't know. There were parts where I felt that it was in character, and then he would say really out of character things. Like the conversation with Kang was really cool. There's a scene where he has this conversation with Kang, and I really liked that. And then some of how he talks to his underlings and stuff, I was really into. And then there were other times when he was just atonal and yelling things like Brexit, stage left. And I was just like, who is this? He didn't even really refer to himself in the third person as Doom. I think the most in character he was when he got really salty about people telling him that this thing would never fail because it was built by Reed and Tony Stark. And he was like, I was like, yeah, accurate and fair. But yeah, I don't know how I feel about it. And that makes me so sad because I love Doom and I feel like Doom is such a strong character, but I don't know if this comic is fully going to get him. There's this whole thing about what if he didn't do this and he had a family, and I was like, who is this? No. Also, we already did that with the God Emperor Doom stuff anyway, where he stole Reed's family. So, no, please stop. Don't do this. Give me the Doom comic I want. I like the Loki one, despite his hipster shirt. I'm enjoying. I need to catch up though, because I made the Doom decision. Ooh. Doom family with Loki. Okay, so have all of you seen the Loki shirt that they've been having him wear for like the last few issues? The cover of a couple of them. I feel like they think that joke is way funnier than it actually is. He has this like hipster shirt that he wears. It's one of those, oh my gosh, it has a word. And I'm totally blanking out. But you know why the center is one color and the sleeves are off color? So it's white in the center, it's green on the sleeves, and then it says Loki, like Loki, Lowkey, like the kids say. And because he's low key and he's Loki, and I'm like, oh, that hurt me. But they think it's great because they keep drawing it, and I'm like, no, please stop. Are they called baseball tees? I don't know. Oh. Yeah, it's on the cover of a couple of them. Like he goes to see Tony and that's the shirt he's wearing, and I was just like, this is my life now. this is what's happened. The funny thing is I actually have a nail polish color called Loki, and I thought that was cute for a nail polish, but not for like an actual thing that we're going to do. Don't do this. Oh. I don't think I have any baseball tees, as evidenced by the fact that I didn't even know what it was. What color is the nail polish? It is a metallic emerald, like snake green color. It has some gold flecks in it, so it like flickers when you wear it in the light. It's really cool. I like wearing it. I got a entire Avengers collection from one of my favorite indie polish makers, Moonshine Manny, when she had it out, and it was so good. I had that one. There's Hulk Smash. There is a it's Hammer Time, which is great. It's this Thor polish, and it's extra and spectacular. It's got a red base with red glitters, and then bigger, thicker red glitters because Thor is extra. So is his nail polish. It's a really good collection. Oh. Oh, if you want the choker hoodie I have, 8 Matt, I got it off of Shein, so I'm sure they still have it. They always just cycle through stuff. Don't ever let any of those sale things fool you. Like, oh, they only 2 hours. Like, pfft, it'll be back. I saw that Ruby has its comics coming out now. But no, actually, Ruby's a boat that I kind of just never really got on. I don't know, like no reason. I just never really found myself on it. Do people like it? Tell me. I've heard good things. My brother really likes it, so he's like, it's so good. You didn't see it, but I'm going to tell you about it anyway because it's fine. But I just spilled so much tea and it's fine, but actually not in a fun way. Oh. How do you like the current Spider-Man comics? I've been reading way more off-brand Spider-Man than the actual main one. Like I read like Symbiote Spider-Man and the Abrams Spider-Man and the Superior Spider-Man and now the Amazing Mary Jane. And I just keep doing that instead of reading main Spider-Man. So I don't know. Like there are one comic that I am Nightwing. Okay, so like I kind of hate read Nightwing now, but that's just because he's Rick. I'm just waiting for my Dick to come back. And you know what? If you're snickered, you're part of the reason his name was changed. Stop it. We can all be mature enough to have Dick Grayson return. Oh, 100%. Oh, it's fine, Rabner. Be a shipper on comics. We can do both the things. We can cross the streams. You know, I have no problem with that at all. Let the worlds completely collide. Storm Pilot will live on forever. Oh, Storm Pilot was such a good time at the start. So fun. I'm too salty at Bendis for his whole I'm going to reveal Clark's secret identity, and that's brilliant ploy to deal with him right now. Ooh. Everything can live in our hearts. That's the way it can work. I know, Artemis, if you laugh at Dick, part of the problem. They did the annual, and that just came out, and it's this scene where the Bat family, like, they're trying to convince him, like, look, this is your life, like, we love you, Dick, and he's like, stop calling me that, my name is Richard, I'm Rick with no K. I can't. This is all the KG Beast's fault. You know what? He was dead. Batman full on killed him. He should have stayed dead. Sometimes dead is better. He did kill him. I read that issue back in the day. Well, I didn't read it obviously when it first came out, but I have it in one of my collections where he just locks him in the sewer and leaves him there to starve. It's ice cold. Is Cable alive again? Young Cable. Young Cable killed old Cable. That's right. You go study, live your best life, do fulfill all of the obligations. Is that what happened to Damien? So much has happened to Damien, but I mean, I feel like a lot of what's happened at the end of this Batman run is gonna be undone Ian, get out. Like, stop. Oh. I feel like a lot of stuff is just that run started so strong. I have so many feelings about where Tom King's run ended up with Batman. I will never not laugh at the vacation issues as they cut back to poor Damian in the city trying his best, and he's just there with a mustache, paddleboarding and doing yoga. I can't. Oh. No, there's no way. I feel like it's going to be one of those things, Artemis, where at the end we're going to be like, that was a thing that happened. Like the time he wrote a pterodactyl. Let's just not talk about it anymore. No, like that time when there was a love triangle between him, Black Canary, and Green Arrow. It never happened. What are you talking about? The thing is, I've always wanted to talk about those issues, but there's one issue that's right in the middle that's super racist. And I'm like, that's really awkward. That's so I feel like could I just cut all that out and just talk about the love triangle that never was, because I'm so intrigued by it. Oh. I know. Old Cable for life. I love old Cable. Young, hipster, hot Cable can get out. He'll never be as hot as old Cable. No, Green Arrow and Batman were fighting over Black Canary, but it was less of them fighting and more of a Black Canary was interested in Bruce, and he was also low-key interested in her, and like they had like good chemistry and good stuff going on, and she started kind of going off to fight crime with him instead of with Ollie a little bit. There were a couple of team-up issues. Like again, they did a team-up with the Brave and the Bold where most of it's solid. It's actually a pretty solid team up, and like she's super flirty and like into him and all this stuff. And then all of a sudden, randomly, she gets captured like midway through, and the villains are like, "Haha!" But we need to strip her of all her clothes. I'm like, "Don't do this. We were doing so well." No. Oh, the time Batman was a genie is fantastic. The time Batman had to wear a different colored costume every night. You know who's also okay? You know who's a villain that I like? That's really lame, and I should be ashamed, but I'm not. The 10-eyed man. I know, but I do. It's just so ridiculous that I love it so much. Yeah, I really want them to leave Phantasm alone. I'm like, no, Phantasm is sacred. Don't take this from me. Don't ruin this. Leave it alone. I feel the need to acknowledge that Batman wrote a pterodactyl more often. Batman Odyssey is a strange time. It's a very strange time. Oh, I also like the Rainbow Raider and Flash. I'm like, yeah, the Rainbow Raider. He's super cool. How dare you? His powers are really useful. Oh, which 10-eyed man comic was it? Tell me. Is it the one where he puts gloves on his hands and then wakes up and is like, I can't see. I'm blind. Oh, wait, I put on gloves? Because the doctor who attached the retinas and everything so he can see through his fingers didn't give him eyelids, so he can never close them. The whole thing. Oh. I need to do. Oh, I gotta do the Spider-Man 2099 stuff. I feel like I privilege Spider-Man too much. I'm like, I need to talk about other people who aren't all Spider-Man, and we need more Cap tripping out things to talk about as well. Richie, I know, right? Yeah, give me some villains who people think are lame, but you're like, you know what? I'm here for this. You're like, they can be in my crew. It's okay. I will love them. Ooh. Oh, the Condiment King. I haven't read the current one. Oh, what did I read recently? I had to make a choice with the Dark Multiverse of which one I was gonna do, and I did the Superman one, and I have so many regrets. I have so many regrets. It's just that was a thing that I read. This is why I haven't talked about it. I'm like, that I read that. It happened. Is Kite Man still uncool, or have we grown as people? I feel like Charlie Brown is, because he's Chuck Brown. I feel like Charlie Brown has grown on people of late. I think a lot of people really caught on to him with the whole war of jokes and riddles. They really like that, and his new tragic origin with his son being killed by a kite. I'm sorry, I can't. Oh, I really like the Clock King. I feel like people really underestimate how important time management and being good with your time. You could be a threat, especially if you're managing your time and the person you're going up against is like someone like the Flash who is terrible time management. You're like, haha, I did it 35 minutes ago. Oh. A kite killed my boy. A kite killed my son. Oh. Oh, hi, Corey. Hello from Canada. Which Calendar Man? Do you like classic Calendar Man who is like doing holiday themed things, or the Calendar Man who like literally molts and like reemerges like with the seasons? I like the Calendar Man from the Long Halloween, which I really like just the art in those. It's really beautiful. Oh, Cavalier's costume. That's sometimes you want to see a person adapted just for the costume. And I'm like, I need that. Just like I need Turner D. Century, even though he's super lame and we need to talk about why he has a mannequin that he rides around with. But I want that. The hat, the mustache, the bike, everything. The God. Oh. I love comic book Hawkeye. Comic book Hawkeye did nothing wrong. I need Booster, but with the shiniest costume. I mean, Smallville let me down. It was not as shiny as it could have. I need him to be reflecting. I need to see my face in his costume. Oh. This should talk about the Sentry. The Sentry, in my opinion, is one of the best retcons that I've ever seen. I really enjoy that retcon, so I really should talk about the Sentry. I think it's really cool, incredible how they'd insert him. Who would I cast as Booster Gold? I don't know. I don't even know who's hip. I don't know. You need the reflection so high that it just turns into a J.J. Abrams lens flare. It's like, oh, we can't see from the future. Army. I feel like Army Hammer could pull off the attitude, though. Like both attitudes. The like cocky Booster Gold and then the I've seen some things Booster Gold. They've hinted for years that like Booster Gold is this focal point of like the DC universe. I'm like, just give me more Booster Gold stories that aren't the gift. Give me the Booster Gold from 52. That's the Booster Gold that I want. That's my booster. Ooh, would James Marsden play Booster or Ted Kord? I need a Ted Kord. Jessica Jones is just Alias is an amazing comic. I love Alias so much. Just give me Booster and Ted. I know, right? That's all I want too. Who else remembers that Ted Kord dated Oracle for like 2 seconds back when Oracle was cool because she was Barbara? So Mm. Yeah, but Brandon Routh is living his best Arrowverse life now. He's like, I've been redeemed. Superman Returns didn't ruin me. I liked Oracle X Ted too, actually, to be honest. But I also liked how it ended. It was so amiable. It was just really relatable, and I liked it. Where they're both just like, oh, maybe we shouldn't do this. Yeah, he is gonna play Superman again in Crisis, and I think that's so sweet. I'm like, yay, redemption, because that wasn't his fault. The movie just isn't. Superman Returns is an experience. Mm. Lots of times with Superman's one of those roles where it really rides or dies on everything around it, because some people have a really hard time writing a Superman story and then they turn around and blame it on the character. They're like, well, he's boring. And I'm like, poor workman blames his tools. And that's why I'm not allowed places. Oh. Oh, I know, Burt Ward. Robin. I love the 1960s Batman so much. It's so fun. King Tut is 100% my fave. King Tut is so good. I remember that. Now they're promising things like, okay, have you all heard about the DC superhero high school show called DC Superhero High? I can't. I don't actually think Henry Cavill was a terrible Superman, Artemis. I think he had potential. I feel like everything around him is terrible. There were a few moments where I felt like he really got it, and I really liked him. And I was just like, wow, I wish everything about these movies was different, because I really think he could be like a really cool Superman. But Man of Steel, Man of Mope, Man of I'm Jesus, so I didn't do anything till I was 30. Man of I let my father die because he told me to, because he didn't want me to be a hero because he's the dark multiverse Jonathan Kent. I can't. I love Eartha Kitt so much. You know what I'm more concerned about Henry Cavill doing? The fact that he's going to be Sherlock Holmes. I would take a Man of Mope too over and Millie Bobby Brown is going to be his little sister, and it's going to be focused on her adventures because they're like, yeah, that's what the people want. Remember Sherlock season 4? They loved his sister. Give the people more of that. Oh. No, why would they do that? He did play it very flat, but I feel like that's the direction because, okay, I know people like to make fun of the Joss Whedon scene they add with the CGI'd mustache off, where he talks to the kids. But I really like that scene because it's a very Superman thing to do. Superman would take the time, the few precious seconds, to stop and talk to some kids who wanted to talk to him. And I was like, yeah, you know, Superman is human. Like, he's compassionate. He's a nice person. He's not aloof or removed. I mean, I can see why that would be a read that you could take, but I don't feel like it's the most accurate. So I don't know. I feel like it's a case of that's part of what makes Superman interesting is the fact that he is so humble, you know, despite all the powers that he does have, because he was raised right. Also, actually, did you see it doesn't match Man of Mope. The photos of him with the mustache on, I kind of love. I'm like, now I wish that this has just been the look. He came back and he's had a mustache. I would actually be here for that. I loved it. Yeah, I know, right? Well, in all fairness, Man of Mope Superman, I don't feel likes many things. So I don't feel like he has much joy in his life. Oh, mullet Superman, I always say. Oh, more mullets. Are we just gonna bring back all the mullet? His mullet, Nightwing's mullet. Who had a great Marvel mullet? I feel like there were some classic mullets that we're sleeping on. Hal Jordan's Reed Richards hair streaks. Did you notice they took away Reed's streaks for a little bit? Now they're back. I'm like, no, I don't even know who that is without hair streaks. Eddie Brock's mullet. Oh man, how could I forget? Eddie Brock had a great mullet. So did Shatterstar. Yes. Top 10 mullets. I mean, that's what the people want. That's the real thing the people want. They're like, we've been doing all these adaptations all wrong. The kids love mullets. There we go. Maybe he'd have been happier if he hadn't let his father die. It's true. That's how the symbiote really influences him. He's like, I had to go to Flash Thompson because you cut your mullet and we're not good anymore. 80s Rogue is just great. Like 80s X-Men in general are like one of the first X-Men comics I ever read was the one where Storm gets a mohawk. And I remember she goes up into like her attic room with the jungle, all the plants that she has, and she's all like, I need a change. And then she comes down with the mohawk and the punk jacket and everything. And I remember being about 12 and being like, this is awesome. This is the coolest thing I've ever seen. I loved her mohawk. I still love that look. I don't care what anybody says. It's great. I'm like, yes, Punk Storm is so good. Let me catch up. Iron Man did have a mullet. Iron Man also fought his teenage self. The mohawk is a look. You gotta look good to be able to pull off a mohawk. You gotta have a really strong face. I do not have a mohawk face. I already know this. Finish your tea. No! It takes me forever to drink anything. There is still a lot of tea in here. You never know when your next drink will be. You have to savor it. You have to save it. I do remember the 90s Iron Man cartoon. I do. I also remember the Hulk cartoon. That was a thing that I watched. You should spell them. I already did, but on myself. Oh. No, there are some great superhero looks. Like in the, not Mr. and Mrs. X, the Rogue Gambit team up one before that, when they have one of their therapy sessions and it flashes back through all of Rogue's like different iconic looks. I'm just like, man, Rogue's always been on point. Yeah, I can't wait to see Tom Welling in the Superman costume either. I remember Earth's Mightiest Heroes. I was enjoying Earth's Mightiest Heroes a lot, actually. Yes, of course. I remember Spider-Man, Superman, Freakazoid. I missed Captain Planet. I've only seen an episode here or there, but did Johnny have a mullet? Gotta think back on my Johnny story. Johnny's another character who suffers from resets a lot. He never gets very far. Yeah, they did, but that's going to happen a lot more, Rap Nerd, I feel like, especially now that Kevin Feige is in charge of everything. I think you're going to see a lot more things trying to line up because heaven forbid that different mediums be different and some person who happens to pick up a comic book is confused and has to spend 5 minutes on Google. So, oh my God, I'm so bitter. I'm so bitter. No, McReese, YouTube betrayed you. You were betrayed. Silver Surfer cartoon. That sounds vaguely familiar. I feel like I might have seen like an episode. No, it's not even that late. I know, right? I need to bring back the Salt Squad. The Salt Squad shirts and hoodies. Yeah. Salt Squad. I still have mine's a t-shirt and it's too cold for it now. Yes, I designed a Salt Squad shirt for people who don't know. Because I'm so salty and I accept it. I didn't like the last season of Young Justice as much as I liked the first two. I'll definitely say that about it. But that usually happens when there's a gap in a show for me. I find that when they come back, they never feel the same. Like, I think my worst one for me with that was Futurama, which I still watched all the way to the end. But I'm like, it's not the same. Like, you can feel it. Like, people aren't always in the same sync, and like, time changes everything. So it's never quite the same when you come back. So, but it's inevitable. That's life. Sometimes they do, because a time gap can be a very good tool, but sometimes it can also be we need a character to get from A to B and we don't want to explain it. So here we go. Oof, without the Human Torch. Shots fired. Hmm. Yeah, I'm not caught up on a lot of like the shows and stuff that are on. I mean, I'm not even caught up with Titans because I'm still waiting for it to come up here to Canada. So late. Mm. There were a lot of new people. The thing with Young Justice is I feel like also what I like and don't like about it too is that it assumes you have a lot of knowledge, which is good because it's like you know who they are. I'm like, yeah, but then by 3 it was like I know who these people are, but I can imagine a lot of people just tuning in and being like, "What? Who? Why? What? Where?" Mm. What didn't you like about the Bat Fam? Tell me. I like to hear all of the things. Oh yeah, 100% Karen. Like by the end of it, it was just like we can't focus on everybody. And that happens in some that's why you need to pick a focal point. And then sometimes people get mad. They're like, I can't believe that like these things happened as if they were side characters. And I'm like, you need a focal point. Like at some point you need to just pick a protagonist. Otherwise, you're not gonna do anything well. Like that's just what happens. Like when you have I don't know, Batman. You have a Batman comic and you focus on him, and then some stuff happens to Tim or whatever, and people are like, how could you do Tim like that? And it's like, well, this wasn't about Tim. Tim's a side character. When we go over to Tim's book, it'll be about Tim. But it's not about Tim right now. This isn't about you. He doesn't even go here. Yeah, I loved Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. Too many cooks. It's not about Tim ever. I know, ain't mad. That's so true. It's never about Tim. When is it about Tim? I actually have Tim's Robin comics. They're around, but I'd have to get up. I kept them out. One of his first solo adventures I absolutely love, and it has a great depiction of Bruce that you so rarely see anymore. I feel like sometimes with Bruce's characterization, like people only acknowledge like the last 15 years or so, and I'm like, no, dude, if you go back just a tiny bit further, he's so different. It's stunning. Like you wouldn't even recognize him. He's hugging people, he's asking them how they are. He cares about them. He's connected and engaged. Like I feel like some people would go back and just be like, who is this pod person? But that's sometimes how I feel reading modern Bruce. I'm like, who is this like really paranoid, ridiculous contingency man? Oh, don't you mean the Drake? Oh. Duckman. You know what, James? I think that's it. A lot of times when a new Robin comes up, they're like, "There's more than one. I we don't know what to do, blot." Yeah, Rick's still around. Rick. And there's no K because he's too cool for that. They made him a duck. Uh, oh. I have seen the Batman Family Matters Lego movie. My daughter loves it. Oh. Yeah, since Identity Crisis, definitely. I don't mind some of the preparedness, but sometimes it goes into God mode. It's like what I talked about in the review of Deceased number 5, when Lex is like, "Oh, is Batman dead? Then I'm the smartest man on the planet." I'm like, "Since when was Bruce the smartest man? Like, stop it. He's not. He's really not. Like, I stop elevating him like that." I feel like that's why sometimes people get Batman burnout or get annoyed because when he gets OP or ridiculous, it's like, no, like he's a guy in a bat suit. I just want Christopher Walken there, some guy. But oh yeah, did you see the comments from that author who was like, "There's too much Batman and all of that," and like, "Pro tip: don't invite me to your server." I just felt for me that was the most to me that just came across as like unnecessarily aggressive. It's like if there are characters I don't like, I would never tell like any of you to be like, "Pro tip, don't invite me to a server about I don't know, insert person because they're toxic and they're ruining everything." And I'm like, Batman sells and people like him and know him. And when you have limited money to spend, you're more than likely to spend it on someone that you're familiar with. It's not some big conspiracy theory. I can understand feeling that he's overused because sometimes he can be 100% and you go through periods where there's way too much, but that happens with other heroes too. I mean, you could say the same thing about Spider-Man. Like, it just happens sometimes. And right now, Batman is doing really well for them. And that's important because overall things and sales and stuff aren't going so well, despite what some people say, like they're not. So it's important to put your best foot forward. It's just the whole thing was so odd to me. I was like, why are you doing this? It's just especially because as a writer, then it's like if you Batman your story and you characterize him negatively, and now I've seen these tweets, I'm not going to read it the same way. Well, Facebook post. I'm just going to be like, "Oh, well, it's going to affect how your work is read." And I feel like with social media, that just always needs to be remembered because for the people who do see it, it will color how they see your work. Or even if they put it in a box, it'll be something that they now have to put in a box where before they didn't. So now I'll always have to wonder, like, oh, like, is Batman like this because it's actually for the story or because you hate him and think he's toxic and want to take him down a peg? It's just I don't think it's a good position to put yourself in as a creator to do that, when you're so out there and open for your work and stuff to be scrutinized and also to attack like one of the premier big characters out there that's still such a huge draw for so many people. I'm just like, I get feeling that characters are overplayed and everything, but don't invite me to your server. Like, whoa. Pro tip. I don't think it's possible to start a sentence with pro tip and not sound very jerky without it being like some kind of informational video about like gaming. Pro tip, always be sure your PC is turned on. Like, this is the only way that I can see it not coming across as like Pro tip. Pro tip, never invite me to your MCU Hawkeye server. Oh. Oh, I know. For your information, you could have started that the same way. For your information, don't invite me to your Batman server. Also, Batman as a character isn't necessarily toxic. It's what you do with him, how you use him. Just I don't know. That whole thing. I was just like, why are you a bitter Betty? As a also a resident bitter Betty, are you okay? Pro tip, never invite me to your Barry Allen or Bucky Barnes servers. Pro tip, never invite me to any server because I don't have any time and I've been kicked out of every server that I've ever been invited to. I've been kicked out of every Discord server I've ever been on because I don't communicate because I have no time and then I get kicked out. I'm just gone. I've been booted from every server. So pro tip, don't invite me. Hey, I used pro tip without it sounding awful. I like Black Lightning too, but again, it just comes down to when you have it's like you have this much money and you have where you're gonna put it, and I'm just like, Black Lightning, not this month. I'm sorry. Oh. Oh, I always laugh a lot. I laugh all the time. Sometimes people say it's how they find me. They're like, they identify me by my laugh, which some people like and some people hate, and some people feel it's a supervillain laugh, but it's mine and I'm fond of it. I feel like they'd still kick me out because yeah. Let me catch up. Oh yeah, for me, Hal is definitely in the should have stayed dead club, but at the same time, I enjoy a lot of what they've done with him since he came back. So it's less there than say like Barry. Oh, Barry. Yeah, I did. Yeah, Barry. I think Barry was a bigger mistake than Hal because I feel like the return of Hal was them trying to correct their first mistake, which was the edgy, he's evil and killed the whole core thing. Like, oh, he's so bad. He grew out his hair streaks and he stopped sleeping with that 14-year-old. So, uh, I'll get to that plot eventually because there's a lot to say about that cave. That the cave of wonders. There we go. He has other emotions. That, yep, Aricia. The things people will say to defend that are so good. They're like, on her planet, it actually revolves differently, so she's actually older than him. And I'm like, I read that. I read all of that. I saw how she was depicted. She was depicted like a little girl. She was like, "Oh my god, Hal, like I love you. You're so big." That wasn't someone who was older than him. He even tells her a couple of issues before the cave that you're like a sister to me. He calls her little sister all the time. He's like, "You're like a sister to me, and you need to stop. This crush needs to stop. You can't do this. We can't do this. It can't be like this." And she's like, "But I'm a woman now and we're in a cave." And he's like, "All of my morals have flown out the window because this is the arc that's being written by the same person who wrote Colossus and Underage Kitty Pryde." So there we go. That's why that happened. Oh. It was also really funny because like Hal's thing has always been just like, all the women want him. So I'm just like, this didn't even need to be happening. I know, right, Jacob? Open up. This is the core. Oh. The thing is, with that arc, like, I feel like we're just ignoring it, and then sometimes somebody will remember it happened and bring it up, and I'm like, "No, this is going in the box. We put this in the box of bad choices, and we don't talk about it. It's dead. What cave? No. Hal has enough problems. Don't do this." Oh. Yeah, oh, season 5 of Warehouse 13. I forgot about Warehouse 13. Oh, Ravner, that was a Superman grounded reference. We put that over there. Over there takes care of itself. That is one of the best out of character Superman lines out there. Over there takes care of it. That's a Henry Cavill Superman line. There we go. That's what happened to his dad. Over there took care of itself, and now his dad's. Oh God. Oh, can it please go in the box with Norman Osborn / Gwen Stacy? I love that someone was like, this gives her more character development. Stop. No. That live predicted Cavill. I actually haven't played Spider-Man yet, Philly Man. I've only played the Arkham games. I haven't gotten a chance to play Spider-Man, but everybody tells me I'll love it, so. And she knew the whole time, I know. And Peter's first question, was I still her first? I can't. That whole arc. Oh, they will always be Magneto's kids. I don't care what anybody's. I'll be there on that hill screaming. I'll probably have to then hop over to like some kind of DC 5G timeline hill. Firefly, how does it not? Oh, the panels will like haunt my dreams forever when Peter's imagining it and then imagines him as the Green Goblin doing it. Just no. Supergirl didn't just date any horse. She dated her horse. Oh. Oh man. Was he a Superman was a centaur once in an Elseworld story. Did I tell you guys the story where I was walking in front of a group of like teens who were talking about satyrs, but they thought they were centaurs, and I really wanted to turn around and just be like, no, it's a satyr. It's different. I agree. There are some like retcons that like make sense, and others that are just, why are you doing this? No one wanted this. I think, isn't Connor back to being Lex and Superman's son? I feel like we're back to that because Connor is back to being 90s Connor also, right? Like with the glasses and the sides and the jacket and all of that. That's a thing. Yes. No one. That's not true, Rabner. The writer wanted that. There was one person who wanted it, just like how there was one person who wanted Batgirl to have sex with Batman on a roof. So actually, there are probably two people for that. I kind of like 90s. I like the look. I'm not gonna lie. I like it. It's like, but it's kind of come around and now it's retro. So, which is so weird to say. One day we'll have Lex and Clark raising their son together. I wish Hipster Joker was one of the three. I love Harley and Hipster Joker. I don't even care. No, I will remind everybody of that scene because you know when you look that scene up, one of the things is my thumbnail, and I'm like, I've made it. It's happened. Also, when you look up Bat Lantern, my thumbnail shows up. I'm like, yeah. Forget all the other accolades. My thumb's on Google. Oh, I opened the box. It's Pandora's box of bad retcons. Oh. Well, anyway, guys, it has been fun as always, but I need to get going. There's editing to do, comics to read. So enjoy all the rest of your day, night, evening, whatever you're doing. Thanks so much for giving me some of your time. I always appreciate it. It's always fun to catch up. And yeah, I'll see you all again very soon. Bye.